Always enjoy speaking to those that enjoy the outdoors, athletes, people who enjoy sports and try to make that a living. My next guest is an outstanding young individual who was a very good football player, made it to the D1 circuit level, if you will, and he is now taking his livelihood into the cage and is an MMA fighter, which is always impressive for me. I've been involved with various martial arts for 30 years, and anyone that's going to step into a ring gets major props from me. So without further ado, Quest Truxton, what's up, brother?
What's up, brother? How's it going?
Hey, so good, man. Glad you could make it on. Thank you. I know you're busy, so we'll just get right into it. So people are probably saying, Mike, did he say Quest? I sure did, man. Quest Truxton. What a great name, especially for MMA and sports. I love it. Don't want to harp too much on the name, but don't run into too many quests. So I know, but if you want to let our listeners know, how did you get the name Quest?
So my mom named the first three older siblings of mine, and my dad got the reins on the fourth, and Johnny Quest was on. The whole family was watching Johnny Quest, and so that kind of sparked the idea. So I got to pay homage to good old Johnny Quest.
That's epic. I used to watch that show all the time. So I'm probably close.
Pretty
to
epic show.
I'm probably close to your parents' age, or the same. You could totally be my son. My oldest son is 25. I think you're what, 25, 26?
Yeah, 25.
Sorry, I gave away your age, but
no, it's all good.
Same age as my oldest son. So that's epic, bro. Got it right on, dad, and mom right on too. So you have
it makes it easy for fighting, because the nickname is a tough. It is, I think, because the nickname's a tough choice for a lot of people. But I've kind of been working with just Quest, and I think it's good enough to build a notoriety name and brand with it. So we'll keep riding.
Totally. I was going to ask you in this episode if you have a moniker or a nickname or whatnot, but Quest is it, man. I mean,
nothing's really stuck yet, but
so many things
I can ride that.
Totally, so many things can go with that name. Your quest to become the champion. So maybe cheesy as that sounds, but it's the truth. So
I like it. It's got a good ring to it.
There you go. So you have, is it 3 older brothers, or do you have a sister mixed in?
2 older brothers and 1 older sister.
Okay. So you're the young one. Awesome.
The baby of the group.
Yeah. Well, I have 3 boys. My youngest is 17. He's actually at Harbor right now. So for those listening, Quest, you graduated from Newport Harbor High School, right?
Yeah. 2014.
Right. 2014. Okay. And you played football there. And by the way, people listening, go on Google and Google Quest Truxton, Truxton, and watch his reel highlights. Reel is like an old school name, but watch his highlights on the internet. The boy can cut and just juke people out and then turn on the app. Dude, you did this one play. I was like, damn, that was good. You were literally kickoff return. I don't know what stadium that was at. And you ran to your left, the opponent's right. I thought for sure you were getting drilled. There were like 3 guys right there. And it was like CGI crap. You went like in between 2 dudes, like disappeared, went in between the first nanosecond, went in between 2 dudes, and then popped out and then juked another dude. Then you went all the way to the other side of the field and went down the sidelines for a 6.
Yeah, I had a few of those. So I
you do. And I mean, I don't want to go on and drool over it. Sound like a stupid dog, but that one was like, God dang, that was awesome. That was awesome. And then so I've kind of touched upon it, but did you grow up in Orange County your whole life? I mean, is this where you started? Okay.
Yeah, Costa Mesa, Newport.
Okay. And so you went to, I said it earlier, but you graduated from Harbor High School, played football there. Did you play football the full 4 years?
Yeah. Yeah. I've been playing football since I was like 5. So
nice.
It was that all the way through college and then straight into the cage.
Wow. So for those that are listening that may be younger, that are doing what you're doing or have done, they want to get some inspiration or learn from you. That's why I like having people like yourself on here, because we can all learn and people listening could get some ideas or go, wow, I didn't think of it that way. When you were graduating high school, So I believe you, after high school, you went to Golden West College. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So were you, and I'm just asking, were you not ready for the D1 yet, or didn't know you want to do college, or you want to try it out first, or grades, or what was the deal?
It was a mix of everything. I think grades were the easiest way to kind of decide that I wasn't going to get a big time scholarship, because I was barely skimping by in high school, but I was also 140 pounds. So I wasn't really the size for D1 yet. And I knew that's where I was going. So I thought it was kind of taking a couple things into account. The junior college route was better money wise. I could build up a little bigger of a frame, which I ended up doing pretty well in Golden West in 2 years. And then getting a scholarship out of there would then be worth it, I think. And that's what happened. So
smart. And for those listening, Golden West College, that's upper northeast Huntington Beach, right?
Yeah, Huntington Beach Junior College. Okay.
So we played there for 2 years. How'd you guys do?
We were really good. We were we didn't win anything big. We were number one in the state my second year for like 9 straight games. We were 9-0, and then our season kind of crumbled in the last 2 games. But I was leading the charge there too, so it was a great experience. I got to kind of step into another leadership role amongst a much wider variety of athletes instead of just the Newport Beach crew. That was kind of, it was a bigger step up, and I got to lead there. So that led me into kind of stepping into San Diego State as a junior college transfer, but still being like, I belong here. Let's hit the ground running.
Right. Well, that's good. So you got physically and mentally more prepared. That's good.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I just saw Quest's right hand wrist, and he's got a brace on there. So we'll get into this a little bit, but he had a fight recently where he came out victorious, but it looks like he has a slight little injury. It happens. That's insane. So then you ended up at San Diego State University, which is an awesome school. I went to USD across the way back in the day. Gosh, too bad the new stadium wasn't built when you were there.
I know. I had fun in the Coliseum that was what they call it, Qualcomm Stadium.
Qualcomm, yes.
But it didn't have the vibe of a packed college stadium, which they'll do now with that smaller stadium. But it was still fun to play in a NFL size stadium, and we filled it out a couple times, pretty close, like when we played like Stanford or other Pac-12 schools. But yeah, that new stadium looks sweet.
Right. You have plans to go down this year and watch?
I might make it to a game. Yeah.
Okay.
A couple of the guys from my year are trying to reach out to all get together for one game. So it'll be the first one I've been to since I left. So I'm due for
nice.
one, I think.
Nice. So you had this great college football career. And again, people go on Google and check out some of his highlights and San Diego State highlights as well. It's awesome. Anyone that can make D1 level, that's insane. So right on, brother. Good job. So after your football and you graduate, what'd you get your degree in college?
Social sciences.
Social sciences.
Not much to it besides when I realized when you get to a D1 school and you're a transfer and they got you there for 2 years and they want to get the most out of you, you kind of major in eligibility, which was good for me because I wasn't big on school at the time. I'm sure I'd be much different if I went back now, but at the time it was football education. But it worked out for me, and I like where I'm at, but it definitely wasn't a major for my future. If that's what most people are going for, that's not what I went for.
Okay. Well, hey, and you never know. Maybe that major will have a role in something down the road. So I was just curious. Sure. I was just curious. Social sciences, very cool. And you graduated. Good job. So what were you doing? Martial arts or anything during your football career? What got you going into, I want to get in the cage someday? Where did that come out of?
It's funny because when I think about it, where my head was at the time, I was just talking to my fiance about this. Why I'm doing it now is such an involved reason of why I started doing it, which is always fun. But yeah, playing football, I never thought about anything but football until my best friend since frickin' kindergarten, Max, who you've had on, he starts fighting up again because
Max
McGregor starts making his climb. Yeah, Max is my boy since 5 years old, probably.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay.
So I would say on what got me into it, it goes Max Red Velvet and then Conor McGregor, who we were both just freaking drooling over at the time as he made his climb to the top. And that's when I was just I think I was at Golden West getting ready to go to San Diego State. And I started watching. That's when I started watching the UFC, like just occasionally watching some big main events and stuff.
Nice. So, bro, you have not been training that long, and you already have, was it 4 amateur fights in at featherweight?
Yeah. So I got 4 fights in a year. I had my first fight last August, and then 4 fights before this August. And I've been training since the beginning of 2019. So we're coming up on 3.5 years of training. So I'm hitting the ground running, but I feel like I've been taking it kind of slow, which is funny to look back on how far I've come from stepping in, because I didn't even know how to throw a punch. I came from football and got humbled like everyone does, but I had this big D1 athlete frame, and I remember hopping in and Kenny, Kenny from Mike's?
I'm very good bros with Kenny. Ken Smith?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So Kenny Smith and Christina and Mike, I think we're all in my first class, and they all had their way with me. And I was like, all right, I got to keep doing this stuff. And I think until I got my blue belt, I was mainly just doing jiu-jitsu and just trying to like get a hold of the sport, just really dove into it, got the bug. Grappled multiple times a day for the first year probably, and then that led right into COVID lockdowns, and it kind of gave me more time, I think, to take it slow and really just put in the time on the mats. So it was a good way to start, I think.
Well, and you picked either by default, knowing Max and being close to the locations, you picked a heck of a good school to start out with. So you're training at the Tomaselli Academy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you're training maybe some other places, but Mike Tomaselli, the owner of Tomaselli Academy, does a great job. And you obviously have Marco Huas there and Dave Jansen.
Yep.
And whenever Joe Moreira can come in there, some outstanding individuals, UFC veterans. Jansen fought in Thailand and lived in the Philippines for years and trained all their special forces. I mean, you got some insane instructors over there. I mean, insane. So so basically when you started, that's probably right before I started having a bunch of injuries, and the last 3 years for me kind of been troubling, and 3 different surgeries. But that's why you haven't seen me a lot. But I'll be there later today. I'll tell Mike what up for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so for those listening, Quest has the opportunity to train with some insane people. I mentioned Marco Huas. Are you doing his class Friday nights?
Yeah, I that was probably the biggest leap for me when I started doing jiu-jitsu. Like, I kept hearing about Marco's in the first 2 weeks. Mike was kind of like, yeah, just hop in. You're like athletic enough to survive it, basically.
Just hop on in. So Thomas,
hop on in. So I'm 2 weeks on a mat learning, and I hop into a Marco class, and he's got me doing diving somersault heel hooks in the first freaking class. But when I really made the decision, because it was kind of like a transition point from football to martial arts, I didn't want to dive in with the same intensity that I just kind of like burn out with in football. So I wanted to take it slow. But once I really was like, okay, I want to do this shit for as long as I can, I'm hitting every Marco's class I can, because it kind of hit me when I was realizing the level of mastery at that gym. I can't take it for granted. So you never know when guys are going to dip out. Like when we had COVID, Marco wasn't doing his Friday classes. Joe was back in Brazil. And I was like, all of a sudden, oh shit, there goes 2 out of 4 masters at this gym that I didn't get to take advantage of while they were still here. So now that everyone's back, I'm trying to take the most advantage of each and every class.
Excellent. And yeah, COVID was a major curveball in learning experience for everybody. So hopefully your whole family came out okay from it. What a mess. But yeah, Mike was able to keep it together and not shut down and be destroyed by it like some places. So we were all fortunate that he was able to keep the mindset going and keep it and do his thing. That's good. You kept your goal and your mindset there as far as screw this. I don't care about the pandemic. I'm going to keep training. So that's good.
Yeah.
And I can't remit or whatever, not say the other whole boxing side of it too. So you have classic boxing, you got,
Chuck.
You have Chuck there and Morgan,
Jeremy, Morgan Lloyd and Jeremy with A-frame.
Mm-hmm.
Bodywork stuff.
Athletics with Jeremy, great guy with stretching and therapy and strengthening. And I don't know if you ever trained with Tommy, but Tommy, old school boxer guy.
I would see him when I first started. For sure, he definitely gave me some pointers, some turnovers on my overhand and stuff like that.
Right,
that's nice. Yeah,
that awesome. Yes, that turnover with the punch is key. So there's a lot of dudes that don't, surprisingly, that don't do that. So you've got So for those listening, if you watch Quest on the internet, some of his fights, you'll see he's what, you 6'1", 6 foot, $145.
So everyone always says that, but I when I got measured for the NFL, they hit me at 5'10", but I feel like I'm definitely on a looser scale, closer to 6 foot. But fighting at 145 the last couple fights.
Okay. So you look rangy, lanky, and I mean that in a positive way when you're fighting. So the guys I watched you fight against, you're really able to get that jab cross going, keep the guys at distance, intercept their what they're throwing at you, and you do a good job at stuffing the takedowns from what I've seen so far. Counter those and take them out. So, and the one loss you did have, you went all the way. That was a decision. So.
I
That's
broke my hand in that one too.
So
that was the first time I broke my hand, but it was a great learning experience from my third fight to my fourth fight. Because in that one, that was definitely the best opponent I had fought, the guy that beat me. I won the first round, I think, handedly, and I was super excited because I knew that he was the best guy I had gone against. Cracked my hand the first overhand I caught him with. And then the next 2 rounds, I was kind of in my own head about it because it sucked. But then coming into this last fight, I broke my hand in the first round again. And the difference between the corner of my third fight and my fourth fight was, oh shit, my hand's broken. Like, what am I going to do? I got to keep him away with kicks and this. And then in this last one, my hand was broken. And I was like, whatever, still going to go at him, still going to finish this fight. So it was a big leap for me. Whether or not the competition was that much better, I took a big step up, so I'm pretty excited about it. I'm not too worried about a couple weeks out.
That's awesome. So how is your hand? How are you healing with your hand?
It feels good. It's not as bad as the last one. The first one was I broke the second metacarpal, and I blame it on how I threw an overhand. I kind of hit him with this side of my knuckle instead of like really lifting the elbow over. But this last one, I don't know what shot it was. They just posted the fight this morning, and I watched it back, and I still don't know what cracked it.
Oh, well, very cool as far as watching. I want to check that out. Bummer about the hand, but heal that thing up. And so let's talk about injuries. Unfortunately, that's obviously unfortunate when you do sports. It happens, and martial arts is no different, obviously. How do you alter? Do you keep training, rest? What are you doing when your hand's laid up?
It's definitely something I'm still learning, which should be everything, but definitely still learning how to manage injuries with the training. I think I'm doing better this time. The last time my hand broke, I was kind of like going a little stir crazy, not being able to train and wanting, like I had taken such a big leap in competition. I was like, I got so much I want to work on. Got to kind of put the blinders on and drive that same energy of what I want to work on to what I can work on, which was just left hand and kicks and flexibility and stuff like that. But I've come a long way from how injuries were treated in the football community, because that's a whole different thing. And so that's the balance I'm finding now, is that MMA is the long game. I want to be able to do this stuff and roll when I'm 60. and I don't have any timeline that's forcing me to get back. I don't have a game next week that I got to tape this thing up and pop 6 ibuprofen a day and freaking maybe a cortisone shot on Friday if I'm still hurting, because that's how it was in college. And that doesn't do your body well when you're just kind of stuffing it back in and hoping for the best. I'll stuff it back in and bite down and keep training. I think that's a recipe for things coming in further down the line. So it's been a weird transition coming from football and other sports where it's you get injured and it's how can I deal with this, as opposed to I get injured now, it's how can I heal this and come back stronger with it. And it's really just patience more than anything, I think, is the toughest battle.
Great reference you have with the sports prior to MMA. That's awesome. And almost like professional level. So to be a D1 level athlete and obviously playing high school all the way back to your a little teeny little kid, Pop Warner type stuff. That's insane. So yeah, you're right. And what's great that you're doing martial arts now versus say when I got into it back in the day when I was younger than you is, 'cause I'm an older dude now in his 50s, is back when I started training and all the way up into the early 2000s, and especially when all the Brazilians came here and started teaching jits, is that you were considered a total pussy, pardon my language.
No,
to be blunt, if you didn't pohada, or they say blood sport, and go hardcore. At least the school I was at a school that was this one individual from Brazil. It was really gnarly. And I won't get into it too much, but I mean, our sparring sessions were like full fights. Yeah. And a lot of dudes were getting injured, and it was like you were considered a freaking pussy if you did not keep fighting and keep training and let your body heal. And it's a lot of people would leave, obviously, and go elsewhere and try and find a better place and a better fit. But it was like Kenny, me, and to a degree, Tomaselli, he knows all about it, but we talk about this, and the older guys, we talk about, it was just a different vibe. And it's so much better now for you guys and the younger crew coming up, because that is chilled out. That has been chiseled off. Yeah, you can go to certain fight schools. Obviously, look, you can make it as vertical as you want, right? I mean, you want to start interjecting weapons? I mean, how vertical do you want to get? So, you can make it a full-on fight. But my point is the normal training, hardcore training, all that is much better nowadays, at least in my opinion, than it used to be. I mean, God dang, it just used to be kind of crazy back in the day. And people that aren't into it, and they may think what you're doing is crazy today, but I think it's awesome. So right on.
Yeah. So when I came into it, pardon to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
I've heard all of these stories of how tough it used to be and how these guys used to just come in and spar, and it was kind of tape your body up. So it was this very similar to what I did in football. And I think having that kind of ego removed from it, I can find a balance a little bit easier, because I know that I can bite down and hang as long as anyone else if I need to. But knowing that it makes it a lot easier for me to go, no, I don't need to spar today. Like I got my whole week planned. I got twice the sessions this guy's probably got, and he's trying to reel me into, come on, just let's go hard for a couple rounds. I don't ever feel the need to like match that energy just because I don't want to look like a pussy, because I know that I can bite down and go deep with any of them, but I don't have to do that because I know that I can. So I think it's when you get guys just coming into the sport and they think that they have to do that to become those guys, I think that's where it starts to get ugly, and you'll get guys dropping off because their bodies just won't be able to take it. But you also don't want to swing too far the other way where you never get those live rounds in. And I think just finding the balance and teeter-tottering that around is where I try to stay the most during my training. But there's always times where you start, I haven't sparred hard in a couple days. Like I got to pick it up a little bit, but just finding that balance is what I think is going to take me to where I want to go in a 5 to 10 year career.
Outstanding, bro. Great mindset, great outlook. Again, your whole molding from football is really giving you a great frame of reference especially if everything you just said and the mindset to make you have a better course of action, outlook, whatever you want to come up with for your martial art career. So that's awesome. Good job for you. And by the way, I don't mean to sound like those grandparents. It was hardcore back in the day, Truxton. It was nothing like today. You guys are a bunch of pussies. No, I'm not saying that, you guys. Everybody can be a tough, gnarly person. It was just, it's so much. It's just, there's so much more. It's just a better outlook today and a better way of doing things and handling things. It's maybe because a lot of Americans and people from other countries started getting as good as the Brazilians. I don't know, but obviously I'm just talking jits. You're doing a lot of boxing and Muay Thai and stand up too. So, it's so much better nowadays. So that's great for you. But you can still be like the old days where you just want to fight and go in and you're going to have a short shelf life. So that's good for you. Congrats. So I'm just reverbing what Quest said. So for those listening, younger crew that want to train and get into MMA, do what Quest is doing. It's the right formula, at least in my opinion and my experience. So you mentioned, I think earlier, fiance. So you're engaged, huh?
Yeah, just I think a little over 2 months ago. Popped the question. Wow. Yeah, we've been together for about 5 or 6 years. Yeah, I'm super. I couldn't be more stoked about it.
Oh, awesome, brother. So, it's you don't see that every day in a young man, 25 years, who's engaged. Did you guys go to high school together? She go to a different high school?
Yeah, we've been going to school together since middle school, and we kind of always had a connection. There was some times on and off, but really started dating near the end of my college career. And then out of college, we just kind of started hitting the ground, growing together. And then I think the COVID lockdowns was a make or break for a lot of young couples or couples in general. And I think we couldn't have came out of it any better than we did. And so that's probably the biggest reason is I have these good mindsets about slowing things down, is because you need that matching feminine energy to kind of be like, hey, cool it, dude. You're burning out if you ride up here the whole time. So I can't. I'm so grateful for her.
Awesome. That's a nice ace in the back pocket, brother. You just nailed it as far as someone keeping you in check, so to speak. There's been plenty of days where I want to go type A and pop off, and my wife's like, "Yo, bro, gear down." You need to think about it this way a little bit. And you're like, dang it, yeah, you're right. All right. Yeah. So Quest is this gnarly athlete, and he's a fighter. We're recording right now. He had to switch from outside where he had this awesome Bob the Dummy, and it had all this black on it from his teep kicks and everything. And now you can see he's inside, and he's got the Zen thing going with a plant and candles and probably a picture of his fiance. So there's some good sides to Quest there. That's awesome. So what do you do when you're not training, you're not fighting, that you consider as like your time off, your Zen period, your free time, and you're not with your fiance? Do you like to go to the beach? You surf? What else? What do you like to do?
I got a little pug asleep right here.
I don't like to take on walks, but it's funny you say, if I'm not fighting, I'm usually with my fiance or this little guy, because that's where I get my time off. That's where I choose to spend my free time, is with her or with him, just chilling, walking the beach, going on little hikes, just trying to get outdoors as much as possible.
Very cool. You want to give a shout out to your fiance?
Yeah, I got a picture back here. I'll pull this up. You scoped it out. We're actually in her office right now, so this is her. I don't know if you can see it. It's a cute little frame that I got her.
Sunset. So for those listening, because most people listening don't have the video portion, there's a picture of Quest kissing his fiance with a sunset going down in the background. Did you propose that day? Did you say that? Or?
No, that was we went to Hawaii a couple of years ago, and
nice.
I don't know if I have a proposal picture up here, but no. Yeah, I proposed 2 months ago, just by the dog beach with her. So that's like, you asked what I like doing in my free time. It's her, it's my pug, and it's the beach. And then I couldn't have picked a better time to propose than that.
Very cool, brother. You got an old soul. You know what? My youngest son, Blake, reminds me of you. He's 17 at Harbor, and he's had a girlfriend for the last 3 years. So figure that out, people. That's 14 years, age 14, little kid. He's been dating her, and they're like this old school couple. We'll probably end up getting married together. And she's a sweetheart, very cute girl, and it lights Blake up. So I can see that in your face. That's very cool. My bad. You may have said it. Your fiance's name?
Ashley.
Ashley, good job. You got a stud on your hands, but way to keep him in check, Ashley. Good job. All right. So Quest, anything you'd recommend for younger guys that are thinking of either playing football, since we've talked about that, or putting their toes on the mat and training?
It's tough. It's a tough one for me because I can't think any differently now than to tell any kid who's playing football in high school or basketball or volleyball or something, go get your feet on the mat as soon as possible. I cannot recommend it enough. It's even if you don't have to dive into it like I did. I'm kind of a bad example of taking it slow and just kind of enjoying it, but it'll change your whole perspective on kind of like the sport culture that everyone's familiar with. Like people always bond with, oh, you played football Division I. It's much more familiar with people than obviously jiu-jitsu or MMA in general. But I cannot recommend it enough. Wherever, obviously I got to recommend the Tomaselli Academy, but I think just about anywhere, get on the mats, get in a gi, and it'll help you wherever you're at. I think even if you want to keep doing sports, you want to just do school, you want to do this, you want to do that. If you get on the mat, it is going to help you in whatever you're doing.
Very good. And maybe keep you a little humbled as well, huh?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm sure.
And that's the biggest thing.
Because I played football through high school, and then when I started doing martial arts, the football mindset, you're like, oh, I'm this tough guy. I did 3 days in 100+ weather, and let's go, I'll kick your ass and all this stuff. And oh my God, I got so smoked and destroyed. I said, oh my God, I'm a pussy. Pardon my language. That's probably the wrong term, people. So.
Yeah. I think I got to give props to your boy Kenny then, because he was there the first day I came in. And obviously the ego swells up from a D1 football player getting choked out by an old dude. And I'm like, oh, there's no way this old guy's freaking getting a handle on me again. Round starts again. And I just kind of try to blast double leg him. And I think the next thing I know, he had that gift wrap on me. And I think he pulled a knife on me in my first day of jiu-jitsu, which is, I shouldn't say that after I just recommended everyone get on the mats. But with Kenny, if you know Kenny, he's got a kind heart, and he took care of it, but he humbled me, and he said I was the quickest guy to ever learn how to flow roll after that. And I think it's justified after I tried to blast double him in a Tuesday morning class.
Oh, that's awesome. So for those that are like, who's this Kenny guy? His moniker, nickname, handle is the Gentle Juggernaut. And Kenny has fingers the size of sausages, for lack of better comparisons, and these giant freaking bear paws, and he's super strong. He should have been probably born in the Viking period, but he looks like some Nordic Viking dude, and he's a total bro of mine, and we train a lot with the whole weapons aspect. But that's classic, bro. He pulled a little trainer on you and started sticking you with the blade. And you know what? I'm glad he did, because it lets you know, even if you got him down on a double, as he's going down, I guarantee he would be already deploying his blade. And as you guys hit the ground, unless you knock him out with his head hitting the ground, which he wouldn't let you do, or he would know how to, he would know how to tuck his chin and go with it. He would be sticking you as you guys hit the ground. And that is real world training scenario stuff right there. And that's why I love the Filipino combatives, which Kenny and I are involved in. And that's awesome, bro. They got exposed to that. That's a whole net. So that's a whole nother world. So so that's sick. So you got the full MMA, which is realistic fighting in the cage, but you still have referee. Your coaching corner that can throw in the towel. You have the referee that can stop it. It's a whole nother world when the only thing stopping is if that dude stops on you or you're dead.
Yeah.
You know? So obviously not in training, but
that's one thing that Kenny told me that I think elevates the cage work. I'm sure plenty of the combatives will elevate your cage work just off your awareness alone. But one of the things he used to tell me, aside from that first day of training, was there's always a knife, and keeping that extra layer in rolling, just like people who just do jiu-jitsu are never really worried about getting their head bashed on the ground. It's now I'm thinking about how am I going to be on top of this dude, landing blows, keeping control of him, and thinking he could pull out a knife at any second. So adding that extra layer, just something to keep in mind. You never really got a handle on someone, because I think just from my experience in the first couple of years, you can definitely tell when people are too used to the mats and starting on the knees, and they kind of get comfortable just training the easy stuff. And it's not going to be that easy if something pops off at the wrong time when you're just out and about. So it's definitely something good to keep in mind for everyone.
Well said. Realistic scenario-based training. So you could be this great. Well, unfortunately, we lost a world legend in jiu-jitsu recently being shot. But that's the real world. And you're right. Many people are carrying what we call equalizers or tools. And I'm one of those. But so being exposed to that Quest will make you a much better fighter and a much better martial art and a more humble human. Just like, your stand-up. I did 2.5 years privates with Dave Jansen, and and we were doing Muay Thai and Filipino stuff, a little Chinese stuff. That improved my jiu-jitsu game big time. Because now I'm not worried about getting freaking, teeped and kneed in the 8 different sections of your body and knocked out or whatever. Now it's just jiu-jitsu. But it helps your posture too. You know what? You're not so hunched over and looking like this wrestler or this gorilla type thing. It's really good for you to do that. And if you ever want to train, I'll be happy to train with you with the whole blade aspect. Because when you're not seeing that trainer go by you, and most of the trainers are aluminum or silver or blue, and you just see fists, then you're like, oh, that dude just has a fist. All right. You know what I'm saying? Obviously a fist can do damage, but that's awesome. Good job, Kenny. If you're listening, way to introduce Quest. That's awesome. Way to go. All right. So Quest, if people want to follow you, see your deal, how can people, without stalking you, how do they follow you?
I think right now, it's just the Instagram Quest MMA. Pretty simple. I'm stoked to be on here too, because I just started a podcast for my girlfriend. Her and her friend are they just graduated from Chapman's master program, so they're becoming therapists. So they're starting a podcast, and I kind of help put that together for them, with in the back of my mind starting my own podcast, very similar to yours, just about what I like doing, about my journey, interviewing people I like their lifestyle, like to hear their kind of nuggets of wisdom. So yeah, I'm stoked to get that started too. But as of right now, it's just Quest MMA on Instagram, and you'll be able to see fight updates and stuff like that. But yeah, that's all I got so far.
Awesome. Well, Quest, congrats on the journey from football to transitioning to MMA. And I wish you all the best in your healing, obviously forefront with your hand, and then continuing on and kicking butt in the MMA world. And I'll look forward to bumping into you at the Tomaselli Academy.
Yeah. I'll see you. I might see you today if you stop by.
Oh, well, I'm going in at 1:30, so I'll see you then.
Hell yeah. All right,
brother. Take care and have a great day.
Thanks, Mike. Have a good one.
Thanks for coming on.
Having me on.
Yeah. All right, brother. Take care.